Hello friends, welcome to Build a Loop. Build a Loop is the 6th activity in the world building chapter of Learn to Code 2. And this is a challenge, and the goal here is to collect some randomly determined number of gems. And we'll know when we have all the gems we need to collect, because the number of gems we've collected will be equal to the total gems constant. So there's a constant down here called total gems that's given to us, and that has the number of randomly placed gems that are in the puzzle. Okay, so I think looking at this puzzle here, there's a path that goes along all the way around in this rectangle. There's a path that goes around this outside rectangle here. The problem is the path has holes in it, so we can't really walk from one place to another without without getting into trouble. So we could do a couple of things here. We could we could fill in the path so that there aren't any gaps anymore. That might be nice. And then we could walk around the puzzle in that way, collecting gems. Another way is we might be able to place some portals so that we can get to all the places we need to. So I think I'm going to try in this video anyway, I'm going to try just placing some blocks to fill in these holes so that we can then just wander around the outside of the the outside of this rectangle and collect gems as we go along here. So that's my game plan, and I'm going to go ahead and write that in some comments here. Fill in any gaps in the path in the world. Okay, and then the next step will be wander around path collecting gems until we have until we have total gems, the number of gems. Okay, so that's it. I always like to start with a plan and actually write that out in comments if we want to, and then we could just go ahead and fill in these comments with the code to do that. Okay, so let's start this at the beginning here by filling in any gaps in the path that we need to. So I'm going to want to put a block here so that we can get across this water. I'm going to want to put a block here, and then I'm going to want a block here, 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 and one more right here. And I suppose we should run this code a couple times just to be sure that the configuration of missing blocks doesn't change any time. Okay, it looks like the missing blocks stay the same. What does change, of course, is the placement of the gems. The gems could show up at a variety of different places. So that's fine. We'll take care of that as we wander around the path collecting gems. All right, so let's fill in these gaps. So the first place we want to put a block is right here. So that's at column 1, row 0. So I'm going to use my world.place and place an item right here. The very simplest version of the place function says place an item, and that item is going to be an instance of block. So I can go ahead and create that instance right inside there. So there's my instance of block. And the column we want to put it is at column 1, row 0. Okay, so that if I run my code, I should get a new block to appear right here at column 1, row 0. And there it is. All right, so we're on our way to filling up the path. Now, I'm going to make this a little simpler for myself by just go ahead and maybe copy this line of code here. And we're going to need to do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in total. So I need 5 more of these. So I'm going to paste, 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 paste. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more of these, paste. And then all I need to do here is change the column and the row in each one of these so that we get them all filled in. Okay, so this is column 6, row 0, right here. So we need a block there at column 6, row 0. That's good. All the way over here. Now we're going to need one at column 6, row 3. Column 6, row 3. We're going to need one here at column 3, row 3. Okay, and one here at column 1, row 3. And finally, this one here at column 0, row 2. Okay, let's run the code and make sure that we get this whole path filled in. Okay, looks great. Now we have a continuous path, so we can just go on to the next part of this puzzle, which says, the next part of the solution, which says we'll just wander around the path collecting gems until we have total gems, number of gems. Okay. Now, actually, before, oh, that's good. That's good. So what do I mean by wander around the path collecting gems until we have total gems? Well, I think I'm going to do this in a while loop since I don't know how many gems I need to collect. If I knew how many gems I needed to collect, or if I had a definite number of things I had to do, then I could use a for loop. But here, this is one of those situations where we want to keep doing something until some condition is true. And the condition that's true is something like this. We want to say as long as, or while, are the number of gems we have collected, number of gems collected is less than the total gems which is given to us, we want to keep wandering around. Okay, wander around collecting. Okay, so that will be our condition to stop. Whenever our number of gems collected is equal to or greater than total gems, we'll stop doing this while loop here. Okay, now we haven't defined number of gems collected yet, and that's just going to be a variable that we're going to use to keep track of the number of gems we've collected at any point. Okay, so we'll say var number of gems collected, and let's say, since we haven't collected any gems yet, let's start it at 0, and then anytime we collect a gem, we'll remember to increment or bump up the value of number of gems collected. Okay, okay, now let's think about wandering around here. First, let's place our character somewhere on the path, so that we can see what we're going to do by wandering around. And this is as good a place as any, right here in this corner here. So before we do this, let's go ahead and place our character. So I'll put a little comment, initialize and place our character. Okay, so we need an instance of the character type. So we'll say, and this can be a constant here because we're not going to be changing it. Down here, when we created number of gems collected, we're going to be updating that every time. So we need to go ahead and make that a variable, but this is going to be a constant. So because we aren't going to be changing it. So let's give him a name. Let's say this constant is going to be Fred. Let Fred equal an instance of character. Okay, and let's place him then, world.place, and we'll give him a direction as well. So we'll use this version of the place function. Okay, the item we're placing is Fred. Facing direction, let's start with west. Facing direction of west. Let's try that out, see what happens. And we'll put it at column 0, row 0, we decided. Okay. All right. Let's just see what happens if we do that and see what direction he's facing and make sure Fred gets placed on the path after the path is filled up. Okay, he's there. He's facing the wrong way, though. I want him facing maybe the exact opposite of that, so let's change that to be east. All right, now that Fred's on there and he's facing the right direction, what we'd like him to do is just to keep moving forward along the path, and if he is on a gem, he'll collect that gem. But if he's not on a gem, we're just going to have him move forward. Now, if he happens to get to the end of a path, we'll know we're at the end of a path because he'll be blocked. And if he's blocked, then to keep going around in this rectangle, anytime he's blocked, we can just turn him left so that he's ready to go down the path in that way. All right? So that should keep him moving all the way around the path. So we could do this several ways, but let's just check right away. Let's say if he's blocked. So if Fred is blocked is true, then we want Fred to turn left. Turn left. Okay? Otherwise, if he's not blocked, we're going to just have him move forward. So Fred dot move forward. Okay? So he's going to move forward every time, but if he's blocked, first he's going to turn left and then move forward. That's what's happening inside this while loop here. We're going to check if he's blocked. He's going to turn left and then move forward. But if he's not blocked, he'll skip this if statement and just come down here and say move forward. All right, so not a bad idea, just to make sure that we're not collecting gems here yet or anything, but he should kind of make his way around the path with just these simple commands here. And we can just go ahead and let's say I'll run the code faster here, and we'll see him wander around. Now, when the good way to test, a good reason to test this is because these are portals that are going to move us around from place to place at various times. So we want to make sure that he will indeed wander around all of the path. That looks good so far. So he is visiting lots of different tiles on here. Now, really, let's just add the part where he's going to start collecting gems. Okay? So we can do that maybe right before we move forward. Let's check the tile that we're on and see if there's a gem there. And if there is, we'll collect it. Okay? So if Fred is on a gem here, then let's go ahead and collect it. Say Fred.collect gem. Now, don't forget here, every time we collect a gem, what do we need to do? We need to update our number of gems collected. Because if we don't do that, we'll never get this condition where number of gems is not less than total gems, and he'll just keep walking around collecting gems. And while that's fun, and that would be fun to watch, we will never get past this puzzle if that's the case. So a good time to do this is inside this if statement. If we're on a gem, right after you collect the gem, that's a good place to say, hey, take our variable number of gems collected and bump it up by using the plus equals operator. Bump it up by 1. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and run this. Run our code. Okay, so the first thing that happens is we fix our world to fill in any gaps in the outside path. And now we just move forward unless we're blocked. If we're blocked, then we turn left and move forward like he just did right there. Here he'll be blocked, so he turns left and move forward. We're going to get here. We're going to miss this gem here because we're going to take the portal over. But here will be our first gem that we collect. We got one. Now this will take us to this portal here. We turn left, move forward. This one back, and that will let us pick up this gem. Looking good. Okay. Turn left. I see a little issue here that it's not a big problem because he will eventually collect all the gems he needs to. But one thing I see is that he may never collect that gem that's sitting over there in the in between those two blue ones. Okay, so I want to fix that. And this pattern that's right in front of us, this pattern of yellow and green portals, is pretty nice because it shows how you can skip over some portals and then it will send us back inside that little path if we need to. So I think I would like to make sure that he gets inside this little row of that's right over here between these two portals. If we want to make sure he can get inside of there, we're going to want to use a portal to transport ourselves back in there. So it's going to look something like this pattern of portals that he's walking on right now, the green and yellows. Let's make a red portal so that he can get inside that blue one and capture that capture that gem that's inside there, or any gems that happen inside there. So we'll do that at the beginning again while we're placing our blocks. Let's go ahead, and I think one thing to do might be to set our starting point of our red portal to be right here or someplace before the blue, and we'll transport across over into this line right here, somewhere after the first starting part of the blue portal. So we'll start our red here, and we'll end our red portal here. Okay, so let's do that, and we'll say world.place. Actually, let's do this differently. I don't want to make a really long line of code by adding a portal, so let's create a portal first. Let red portal equal a new portal whose color is red. Choose that one. And then we'll place that portal. World.place. And I need to use the one that places a portal over here because it has a start location and an end location. So this one right here. Okay. The portal we're placing is the red portal. And we said we want to start at 6, 3. So the start column is 6. Start row is 3. And we want to end that portal at 4, 3. So start column is 4, end row is 3, and that should do it. Let's go ahead and run the code here. And now we shouldn't have any places where we can't get to because the portal will transport us in between these blue portals so that we can get back inside there if we need to. Okay, we only need to collect 2 gems here. We'll run this a couple times to make sure it works out. Okay, here's the red portal. Let's test it out. This should take us inside the blue. There we go. And now when we come back here to this next blue, it'll take us back to the original blue. There we go. And this will send us out now. And we'll collect this. So now we can get to every square, it appears, in the puzzle by taking portals around. And then we'll come back here now and we'll pick up the last gem we need to solve the puzzle. All right, there we go. Good. So our while loop stopped because our number of gems collected finally equaled 2, which is equal to the total number of gems, not less than the total number of gems. So this while loop stopped, and we ended up coming down here at the end of our code and stopping. Okay? All right, so that's a good solution to this. I'm going to run this one more time, maybe in fast mode, just to make sure if we get a different configuration of gems and a different number of gems, this still works. So let's run it faster here. Okay, we got 2. They're in different places here. There's the 3rd and there's the 4th, so we should stop. Okay, good. All right, I'm happy with that. Again, our goal here was we had some gaps in the path, and if we wanted to wander around the path continuously, we needed to fill in those gaps by placing blocks at the correct locations. And after we did that, the other thing we discovered was that there were some places we couldn't get to because portals, a blue portal made us skip over that. But we saw from this row that he's on right now that if you place a portal before the entrance to that blocked location and put it inside there, that you'll eventually get to all the locations in that path. All the tiles in the path, so that took care of that. And then it was just simply a matter of wandering around the path until the number of gems we collected was equal to the goal, the total gems. And wandering was simply a matter of just saying, if we're blocked, we need to turn left, and that'll keep us going around in this around the outside of the path. Otherwise, move forward. But before we move forward, check and see if we're on a gem. And if we are, collect it. And don't forget this. This is a common bug people forget, to increment the number of gems we collected. Okay? All right. Hope you're feeling comfortable with creating your own worlds by creating instances of blocks, portals, and stairs and placing them in the correct location. In the next puzzle here, a puzzle of your own, we're going to continue doing that by making sort of a custom puzzle of our very own. All right? So we'll see you then. See you next time.